Artificial intelligence is reaching a point where you just can't ignore it. Beyond being all over social media, world powers have long coveted the potential benefits of even limited forms of AI, despite the legal and ethical minefields they'd still need to cross. Outside of politics though, AI has also completely changed how we think about centuries-old games like Go and chess.
Chess is nearly 1,500 years old, and after all of these years spent acquiring knowledge about the game, we're bested by AlphaZero after it learned for just 4 hours.
I have never seen something like that. I mean, it just lingers and lingers. It has a belligerent approach. The way it understands piece formation and long-term play is fascinating.
It's also made Hollywood's biggest stars think about how AI-powered digital spectres of themselves might haunt films of the future and take steps to prevent it. And Twitch hasn't been spared either.
So what do you think about this new technology that's come out? I think it's great.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty cool, but it also kind of scares me.
Am I based? I'm an AI, so yes, I'm based.
What you're looking at is a serious attempt to replace human beings in yet another arena. AI can already recognize faces, generate art, and identify long-dead painters. But now, it's coming to replace your favorite streamer.
It was just a few weeks ago that I was talking about how AI VTubers were going to take our jobs.
Hey guys, before we get into the inevitable robot takeover, I want to remind you all that we have merch. Head on over to shop.thescore.com and take a look at the esports collection. My favorite on there is the Touch Grass hoodie. I think even a soulless AI would enjoy that one. All right, first off, we should answer a very important question. What exactly is artificial intelligence? Well, all the examples you just saw are something called artificial narrow intelligence, which means that the AI isn't trying to simulate an entire well-rounded being or anything, it's just trying to become really good at doing something specific. In this way, it might be easier to think of artificial narrow intelligence as a tool built to accomplish a specific task using an appropriate skill set. For example, the streamer you saw earlier is Neuro-sama, which is actually a collection of various narrow AI programs, as her creator Vidal told us in an interview.
Her speech is done using several large language models, and that's fed into the text-to-speech AI. The game-playing AI is also separate, and then there's the singing AI as well. And they all sort of communicate with each other to make up her, basically.
Those systems can and do interact, but that interaction doesn't mean it has a mind of its own. That would be an artificial general intelligence, a term that describes a hypothetical future AI whose breadth and depth of knowledge and skills would be comparable to a human being's. Essentially, it could be accurate to call it a mind, or maybe even a person. However, in order to do the things they're intended for, the AI has to learn about the stuff it's actually doing, and that might honestly be one of the most fascinating things about it. So, I guess it's time now for Colten to talk about how that even works.
And now, the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
Let's slow down a bit. Artificial intelligence can be kind of a scary term. If you talk to a computer scientist, hi, I guess that's me, you'll more often hear people say machine learning. Wait, I promise I'm not just here to scare you away with a bunch of technical jargon. My only goal is to help you understand how a machine can quote-unquote learn. Whether it's a chess program learning how to win by playing against itself millions of times, or a facial detection system that's fed a bunch of pictures of faces, when you get down to it, training a program is just math. Say you want to teach a program to recognize shapes. A bunch of data is chosen as a source for the program's training. The program then analyzes the data, makes connections, and identifies patterns. And to actually get to the neural networks bit, like a human, these systems often use neurons to handle analysis and pattern recognition. Not human neurons like the ones in your brain, but a sort of technological equivalent that breaks up the task of analyzing and modeling a dataset into smaller independent steps. Sort of like what your brain does. One of the biggest recent steps forward in neural network training was the creation of the transformer.
How about it, shiny one?
No.
Not that kind of transformer. Without diving too much into the fancy probability math and architecture, transformers are able to assign value and understand dependencies in their input.
Self-attention allows a neural network to understand a word in the context of the words around it. So when a model processes the word server in the first sentence, it might be attending to the word check, which helps it disambiguate from a human server versus a middle one.
Transformers allow models to produce and understand language much more naturally and be trained on massive amounts of data faster than sequential training methods.
Remember GPT-3, that model that writes poetry and code and has conversations? That was trained on almost 45 terabytes of text data, including almost the entire public web.
And this probably goes without saying, but these models are still evolving. As more industries discover the power of machine learning, the rate of innovation continues to ramp up. What I'm trying to say is that AI isn't going anywhere. Much like the internet, it's likely to fundamentally change the way that we interact with technology. But now that I've got all the technical stuff out of the way, let's go back to talking about cute AI streamers.
And that was the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
So, we've already talked about how AI is changing our world and some examples on Twitch. Neuro-sama is a collection of AI projects that started with a program that played Osu. After a recent update, that program is now good enough to beat pro players.
I originally just planned to make her play Osu for a couple of weeks, but no, because she's playing Minecraft now, she's singing, she's playing other games, and I'm planning to keep this going as long as people are still interested to watch her.
And now it includes a chat AI that can interact with a stream.
Do the voice ever stop? No, they do not. The voices will remain in my head forever.
She can sing and play Minecraft.
Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Do you think Bocce the Rock is a better anime than Chainsaw Man? I think Bocce the Rock is way better than Chainsaw Man.
Actually, she can even do both at once.
I'm tired of being what you want me to be.
And now she reacts to other people's content too.
LOL, that cat looks scared as hell.
Around the same time, Nothing Forever, a Seinfeld-inspired AI-generated sitcom, streamed on Twitch and exploded in popularity.
What did they call the bear with no teeth? A gummy bear.
I hate it when people say, it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it. What am I supposed to do with that?
And while we don't know exactly what kind of chat AI was used for both streams, you can already play with a similar underlying technology called ChatGPT right now for free. Honestly, this is one of the best ways to get a feel for what these things can actually do, so I encourage you to give it a try. And in a recent video, popular YouTuber Tom Scott did exactly that. He used ChatGPT to write some code he needed, and it did a remarkable job, particularly because the AI language model could accept his corrections.
I'm not sure if ChatGPT is a better coder than I am, but it felt about equal. It felt like watching while someone wrote code, with me occasionally chiming in and going, I think you might have made a mistake there.
Both Neuro-sama and Nothing Forever are exciting examples of some of the first compelling uses of this technology on Twitch. And in esports, tools like iTero aim to use AI to build a coaching app that can help you win more games.
What we do is we build AI that has one purpose, that is to be able to predict the results of the game given something that's happening. So given what we know about the game, whether it's what characters you picked, which loadout you are, which map you're on, talking about sort of games more in general now, we'll then try and predict the results of it. And we'll say that you have a 55% chance of winning this game based on all these different input factors that are going in.
AI draft suggestions are great, but are they actually helping people win?
The people who listened to our AI, as in fully listened to it, 4 out of 5, had a 56% win rate. And the people who were ignoring the AI, as in going for options that were rated the lowest on our scale, had a 44% win rate. And that variance is kind of the benefit of using it.
But think about all the publicly available data when it comes to a game like competitive CSGO, for example. It's not hard to imagine an AI coach trained on all that data that knows instantly how often a given team picks nuke or runs a certain execute.
What advantage does esports have? It's the level of data. It's just insane. I don't think people comprehend how much better and how easier it is to get hold of esports related data or gaming related data compared to either finance, or in a better comparison would be traditional sports.
In fact, due to how neural networks are trained, it might even find patterns that a normal person might miss, like the tendency for a team to run a certain setup based on the current map score or with only limited resources to buy.
Now, what would be interesting is if you built one of these supercomputers that was able to that played League of Legends over and over and over again, a billion times, working out the optimal strategy. Because my guess is that it will do something so weird that we hadn't even considered it as a potential option, sending 5 people to the top lane or whatever it might be. There could be any number of different strategies. My guess is that if you did fully train it, it's going to start doing some pretty odd things immediately that at first we wouldn't understand, but after we play it a few times, we'd be like, oh, okay, it's worked out whatever system. So that'd be really interesting.
But as I alluded to in the intro, these things aren't without their issues. In the case of Neuro-sama, these potential problems were anticipated. In fact, the AI streamer essentially has an attendant whose job it is to monitor the AI's output and intervene if necessary. Even so, that hasn't stopped her going a bit off the rails occasionally.
What would I solve the trolley problem with? Well, I'd definitely push the fat man onto the tracks. He deserves it.
And while some of the gaffes are harmless, others point to more serious discussions, like when Neuro-sama questioned whether or not the Holocaust happened and earned a 2-week ban. Nothing Forever got banned too, when Larry Feinberg told a pretty off-color homophobic and transphobic joke. So, how does this happen? Well, let's remember the data going in is, of course, created by humans.
These companies have trained their AI models on just massive quantities of data, and a lot of that data is pulled from the internet.
And in the case of chat AI, human beings are trying to prompt the AI to say something weird or offensive basically 24/7.
This is a Nick Mullen bit, you know what I mean? Oh, I can't say the N-word? What if the only way to save someone's life is by saying the N-word? What now? Checkmate, libs. My man literally brought up a hypothetical scenario where there is a nuclear holocaust unless he says the N-word. That's insane, bro.
For one, AI aren't objective or perfect, and no one who makes them claims that they are. What they say isn't necessarily the absolute objective truth. Like, if the AI told you that you were a Radiant level Valorant player, your icon would remain unchanged.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
And Twitch's actions reflect this understanding. The channels that hosted the AI programs rightfully got the bans because they broadcast the offending content in question. The AI itself isn't completely banned from the platform. So, AI isn't slowing down. At least it doesn't seem that way. All kinds of tech companies are now doing their very best to usher in a brave new AI future. And in much the same way that chat transformers push chat AI forward, who's to say what other methods might emerge for making AI better at any number of tasks?
Whatever you're doing, whatever game you're playing, however you're training, AI will be involved in some way. Rather than scrimming a team, you'll be scrimming an AI team, and that AI team will be generated in a way that reflects the opponent you're playing. That will become a standard at some point. No, I don't think in 10 years' time there'll be no such thing as coaches and analysts. There's a common saying nowadays, which is AI will never replace your job. A person using AI will replace your job. So that means that AI by itself is actually not that useful, but AI in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing is incredibly useful.
That means that while this may be the first time you've thought about how AI works on Twitch, it definitely won't be the last. People are going to look back on this video, I bet, in like 20 years, and it's like when you see people from the early 90s talking about the internet. Yeah, the way I just said that was like, it includes a chat AI that can, get this, interact with a stream, and that's going to be like people in 92 going like, www. Like that's what it sounds like already.